I'm Thad Brown. He's Carl Jones. We are getting you ready for Bills training camp, going position by position. We're also playing yes, no, kinda. We'll explain what that is too. Today we're talking about the Bills linebackers, and we will begin with the strength of that group. Easy one. This guy right here, number 58, Matt Milano, coming off an All-Pro. He had 3 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries last year. And it's funny, the Bills for the longest time have had Tremaine Edmunds and Matt Milano. And nationally, league-wide, not just media, but like GMs and coaches and scouts and stuff, they would always say they thought Edmunds was the better player. And you can see why. Obviously, the athletic skills are there, the size is there. But here in Buffalo, we would constantly bang the table that the Bills had the better linebacker in Milano, and now with Edmunds gone, I think they've kept the better linebacker. But moving forward now, how much can Matt Milano by himself, and will he be enough of a strength in this team that the Bills can carry or build a season on number 58? Yes, no, kinda.
Yes, because he is a difference maker in terms of taking the ball away and affecting plays, rushing the passer and things of that nature. If he was a traditional run-stuffing backer where he, wasn't really in passing lanes or guarding guys out of the backfield or getting to the passer himself, I would say I wouldn't believe so. But we've seen him get to the passer, guard guys out of the backfield, run the seam. Those type of three-down linebackers, like you talk about running backs, those type of three-down linebackers are hard to find. And when they are good, they are a difference maker. That doesn't matter if who's next to him or not. Tremaine Edmunds wasn't the person who was allowing him to go knock out my boy Mike White's ribs. That had nothing to do with Tremaine Edmunds. So he's the type of player that the Bills can count on as long as he keeps up the success that he's had in the past.
And Matt Milano, for my money, is the best blitzing linebacker in the NFL. If you want your linebacker to have one skill, and Milano's got a lot of them, I think getting after the quarterback is number one. All right, the weakness in that group, pretty easy. It's the other guy. The Bills generally start 2. Milano's going to have 1 spot, so that middle linebacker spot is one where the Bills might have some trouble this year. Now, the unusual part about this is that Brandon Beane, almost exclusively, if there's an issue, he will address it, and quickly and obviously. And with linebacker, he kind of almost let it linger a little bit. Now, look, they've got options there. Terrell Dotson has been a backup for a few years, going into his 4th season. This is a guy, I think 5th season actually, this is a guy who, when he's been on the field, I think he's been pretty capable. And they spent a 3rd-round pick last year with Terrell Bernard, another 3rd-round pick this year in Dorian Williams. Theoretically, if it all blew up, you got A.J. Klein too, the veteran who could, be at least a factor in the run game. But Carl, yes, no, kinda. Will the Bills' lack of a replacement, an obvious one at least, at middle linebacker, potentially submarine this season?
No, because I don't believe the Mike linebacker position. Well, let me preface this by saying I know in Sean McDermott's defense in the past has been very important. They've had a 1st-round pick there the past 5 years. But we've seen around the league where you can get away with a different style of backer. And I believe as long as these guys are competent, C-level, solid, whatever word you would like to be to describe average, that will be okay. I think the issue will be if the play is below that. But I believe out of the 4 guys there, someone can give me a C. So I don't believe that player in particular, although it will probably be the obvious weakness of the other 10 players on the field, I don't think that unit in particular would be the one that would weigh the season down.
I think that's a good call. I think the one caveat I will say to that is I think Dotson gives you a C, no doubt, at worst. I don't know if they're going to be willing to play him because they've invested 3rd-round picks in 2 other guys, and the floor for those 2 guys is anywhere.
We have no idea.
Exactly. And the other thing too is and let's get into this now, the X factor for this group, I think, is those 2 3rd-round picks, Bernard and Williams, because the athletic ability there. And the other thing about linebacker, the league is moving more towards lighter, faster linebackers. Now, look, neither one of these guys weigh more than 230, and the average linebacker in the NFL is still 240. So you're giving some pounds there. But regardless, it's a passing league. You want more athletic guys in that position. And the upside, if Bernard or Williams end up with the job, is that you've got a guy who's a lot more like Matt Milano than what Dotson would probably be. So you might have, maybe pie in the sky upside, but you could have 2 Matt Milanos instead of 1 if one of those 3rd-rounders. How big a deal, how much will what you get out of whether it's Williams or Bernard have an impact? Will they have an impact on this Bills season as a whole?
I would say kind of, because once again, the floor, like the top linebackers in the league and how they affect the game, it is so different from everyone else. I believe the top 5 have a crazy impact. Matt Milano is one of them. But once you get past like 7 to the rest, it's kind of like just make sure we're getting by out there. So as long, I don't foresee Williams or Bernard being top 5. There's, I guess, rookie and sophomore years in the league. But if they were able to get to that level, that's great. So I see it as a kind of situation. once again, I don't think they'll be, if they're awful, then you can just throw the C guy in there and Tyrell Dodson. But I don't know. I don't foresee them becoming top 5 players. So it's a little bit of a kinder for me.
I get what you're saying. You know, if you think about, if you took rosters and matched them up, you know, A, B, there's 4 or 5 teams where your middle linebacker is way worse because the very few that are elite, if you happen to catch them on that particular day. Other than that, the other 25 teams, you're not giving up much no matter what you play. I think you make a good point there. All right, you are now all set at linebacker. For Kyle, I'm Thad. Thanks for watching. Please click on something else here at RochesterFirst.com.